Oh, hello. I didn't see you there, Internet. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a new podcast from Yotsben and Friends, where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two dear friends of ours, Tiago.
Hello.
And Rose.
Hi.
Just for a little table setting, Dessy and I are both the longtime fans of Ace Attorney. We've played almost all the games in the series, whereas Rose and Tiago have never played any of the games and will hopefully be providing a unique perspective as folks coming to this fresh. We're going to be talking about today the very first case of Game 1, which is Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And this is the First Turnabout is the title of this case. Again, just for a little bit of history, this game originally came out in 2001 on the GBA in Japan, and then it did not come out in America until 2005, nearly 4 years later, when they ported it to the Nintendo DS and then localized it. But when it came to the Nintendo DS, they added another case, which we will be including in our playthrough here since we're going off the DS version. And yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. This is basically a tutorial case. So for me, I was kind of just going through the motions again because I remembered every single plot beat. But I guess for y'all who were playing it for the first time, well, I'll start with you, Tiago. Did you think that this did a really good job of introducing the basic idea of okay, here's where you listen to testimony, and then here's where you have to apply evidence to a statement?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was. Oh wait, I have a question. This can stay in or not? Can we cuss?
Go right the fuck ahead.
Okay, great.
Oh, thank God.
I was like, oh no, if I can't cuss, I'm gonna say fuck by accident. I found it to be, yeah, it was pretty simple, and I thank God because I in real life probably never solve a court case. But in the video game, it was Phoenix, just freaking listen. Just listen to what they're saying, and then one of them, they're lying. They're lying.
Exactly.
So yes, I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, the game does the Columbo thing, which is that it shows you the killer essentially commit the murder, in the first animatic, which, again, I've been reading some of the blog posts from Shu Takumi talking about the development of the game as research for this podcast, and he said, yeah, with the first case with the tutorial, he wanted to literally do that. Just okay, we're going to show you the villain. We don't need to worry about making this a full involved mystery yet. Instead, we want to just set things up so that you can learn the mechanics first, and then next case we're gonna start to make it a little more difficult and not tell you outright who it is. But they still telegraph things pretty hard in case 2. But we'll get there when we get there. Rose, what did you think as far as how the game handled teaching you the mechanics here?
I thought it was a really well done tutorial, honestly. I wasn't for context, know very little about Ace Attorney to the point that even I am surprised. So I didn't know what to expect. I was sort of expecting a visual novel, which I guess is not wrong, but I was immediately oh, there is logic puzzle gameplay in here. And obviously the first one was quite simple. So it's just sort of introducing me to the idea, but I definitely can see how they can make it more complicated and do more things with it in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that, honestly. So it did a good job.
Cool. Dessy, I know obviously we've played these games before, but
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. But revisiting it, I guess, did you have any thoughts coming back to it?
I think thinking back on it now from, it's been, oh God, 2008 is when I played this game, so that would have been about 13 years ago that I played it. Looking at it more on the design side of it now, I think the first case they do a really good job of just, this is a tutorial. Here is your evidence. There are very obvious times on here that you need to keep track of. And it's not hard to forget those times. But obviously you can go back and look at evidence as many times as you want. But in this particular case, it's all very straightforward. You know, the lady coroner report says that she died between, 5 and 6 p.m. or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one says something about there's like a 1 o'clock. The testimony that the killer gives says 1 o'clock. Obviously, there's a contradiction in that, and that's where oh, I need to, this is where I need to present this evidence at. It's very straightforward, very easy to understand, and it's just a good first step of a long series of steps where it gets more and more complicated.
Right. Just to then get into just a rough outline of this case for folks who maybe haven't played it. You are introduced to the titular character, Phoenix Wright, as he is about to go into court to defend his buddy, his childhood friend, Larry Butts, who will definitely show up a lot throughout the series, especially in this first game. I guess his mentor, Mia Fey, is there, and she, is essentially his, assistant, essentially, in the way that the case plays, in that most Ace Attorney cases, you will have somebody standing next to you while you're in court to give you color commentary, to occasionally give you the, come on, think through this, to give you that one hint to a solution. And the victim is Larry Butts's ex, Cindy Stone, and she was murdered by Frank Sawit. This game, the game in Japanese has lots of character name puns as well. So when they localized it, the puns are not the same always. Sometimes you can find a way to translate a pun in a similar vibe, but a lot of these are just totally new puns that they had to come up with for names. They transplant the whole game as well. This was a heavy localization because, again, the original game is set in Japan with the Japanese court system, which is very, very heavily biased towards prosecutors. It's very, very rare in the Japanese court system for a defense attorney to get their client off scot-free. So that is kind of like the basis that this game is operating in, but then they transplant it to California.
I played Persona 5. Very familiar, obviously, an expert in the Japanese legal system. So this should be a piece of cake for me.
I know, yeah. And so when they bring it over here, they bring it to California, and yes, then they totally translate everybody's name. Like I think the simplest answer or explanation example of this is Phoenix Wright's name in Japanese is Ryuichi Naruhodo, and if you've watched any anime for any amount of time, you know that Naruhodo is often a "oh, I see" kind of exclamation, and that's his name in the Japanese version of the game. So they keep that vibe up here with Larry Butts and Winston Payne, the prosecutor.
Winston Payne.
Yep.
I'm gonna need you guys to tell me all these puns because it's going right over my head. I read weird.
I saw Larry Butts, and at the end of the case, your boss goes, "Oh, look, it's Harry," and I was like, "Oh, Harry Butts, Lamau."
Yep. That's all. If something smells, it's usually the butts. It's just an excuse to use a bunch of butt puns.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Winston Payne is obviously, winced in pain. The Japanese name for him, his last name was Ouchi, I believe.
Yes.
So that's kind of what they're trying to bring over here. And obviously Frank saw it. He says he saw Larry,
He frankly saw it.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, we will get lots of pun. We will get lots of puns with almost every character name throughout this game series. They do drift away from it over time, as it becomes more difficult, and generally the policy has been a main character like Phoenix Wright or Mia Fey, or eventually you will meet, some other characters too. They will not have as punny a name. Like Wright, obviously you can still make lots of puns off of Wright, but Phoenix Wright as a whole is not a pun the way Winston Payne is a pun, so
it's just a memorable name.
Exactly. But that's generally been the kind of the way they lean with it is to give the side characters the goofier, more wacky pun names. But yeah, so
I feel like they chose the name Phoenix for the the comeback kid kind of style.
The rise from the ashes.
Yeah, the Phoenix is the underdog and has to claw his way up with what little evidence he has, kind of thing. That's always where I've kind of assumed his name.
It's also just a sick name.
Oh yeah,
it's also just a dope name. Yeah,
it is a sick name.
The game's title in Japanese is like Turnabout Court, essentially. So that is why they always use the word turnabout in all the case names here. And again, turning things around at the last second, that's exactly what like Phoenix kind of, applies to here. Rising from the ashes at the last second to find the perfect evidence.
Oh, wait, I just thought about something. Should we talk about like I don't have any I've never played an Ace Attorney game, but I like have some general knowledge of it. And did we talk about that or
yeah.
Oh, like
it had a big internet presence when it was
yeah.
Came out in America for a while. I
used objection generator.
Wait, there's an objection generator?
Yeah, it was a big thing for a while where it was a website. It might even still be around, I'm sure.
It was one of them memes that the kids like.
Objection,
where you could type in a message that you wanted to pop up, and then it would animate Phoenix saying objection, and then have a message afterwards.
Is that what people on Twitter use?
Sometimes.
I thought they were just really good at editing.
There is a bot. If we're talking in the year of our Lord 2021, when this is being recorded, there is a Twitter bot where you can reply to a thread and say, "Hey, Ace Attorney bot, turn this into a conversation," and then a bot generates it with all the people talking as various characters in the game. That I've definitely seen.
Can we fucking download that? That seems sick as hell.
It just operates online.
Oh fuck. Okay, so Rose, do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, what'd you bring to the table?
Oh, things I know about Phoenix Wright. Okay, very little. I know that Larry Butts exists. So that's a great start. I'm pretty sure we solve crimes. I know that Miles Edgeworth exists, and I'm definitely interested in meeting him. He's the sort of character vibe that I have been told I will enjoy as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently found out that there's some stuff with ghosts, and I thought that was like like that fake spirit medium stuff. Apparently, there are real ghosts in this game, you guys.
Wait, there's fucking ghosts? Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My vast knowledge has destroyed Tiago's enjoyment.
No, it won't.
But apparently there's ghosts, and also
Don't worry, it comes up pretty quick.
I've seen some images of a man who wears a visor and drinks coffee, and I think he's from later games.
He is, yes.
Yeah, Godo.
But I love coffee. It's my primary personality trait.
Okay.
So that's what I've got going for me. I know a few other odds and ends, but they're mostly just like visuals. Like I see a character and I go, "Oh, that I've seen a GIF set on Tumblr of that character." That's all I've got. So this is very new for me.
Yeah, same. I absorb general knowledge from the internet. Like I know that there's characters. It's almost Christmas. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it is. It's almost Christmas.
It's almost-
I do know that
Seen that joke go around before. Yeah.
Yes.
a couple times.
And listen, I know there's a hot clown girl, but it's like from game 4.
Oh my god.
I'll talk about
See,
it.
I didn't know that.
We gotta talk about it. All right, we just gotta put it out there. Why say a hot clown girl? What the fuck?
We're gonna get to that later. Don't worry about it.
It's gonna be fucking months from now, and I'm gonna flashback
I'm
to that.
now worried.
And we're gonna need to like call back to the first episode when we get to the clown girl.
No.
That's work for future Ben. Okay, so yes, that is our start. Well, that is my start. My and Rose's starting off points, I guess, is general knowledge. We know memes, and we know specific characters. Some specific characters. I don't know all of them. I know there's a lady with a whip.
Oh yeah.
That'll be game 2. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Oh hell yeah!
I do want to get to that also.
We all, both me and Rose, love a lady with a whip.
unlike the cloud girl, that's relevant to my interest.
Understandable.
Okay.
So yeah,
Let's talk about this case.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go beat by beat with everything, because at this point, the general gist is, Larry is obviously innocent. He's your childhood friend. He might be a little bit of a skirt chaser, but he's not a murderer. And Frank is a common criminal. He's just pretending to go door to door selling newspapers so that he can just sneak in and steal whatever's valuable in an apartment. And Cindy comes home early, sees him pilfering her place, and he grabs the closest object he can, which is the Thinker statue, and kills her with it. So that's the arc of the case. Phoenix, learns from Mia, you have to use evidence to prove that a statement is incorrect. And so the game, it revolves mostly around very specific times in this first case here to try to make it easy, in that, there was a blackout, so the clock should not have been working. The Frank says, oh, well, if it wasn't the clock, it was the TV, that sort of thing. And you're like, well, there's a blackout at the time, so the TV couldn't have displayed the time, you wouldn't have seen that, that sort of thing. And eventually you nail him as being the one who murdered Cindy. But I guess what I was going to do real quick is go around and see if anybody had like a favorite, not necessarily a favorite moment. It can even be just a favorite line if you have a specific, favorite part of this. But I'll start, because my favorite bit, I think, of this is we get a decent amount of characterization for Phoenix here, right? Like, he's a little bit of he's blundering through things a little bit. He's always trying to stretch time out. Like, just, hang on, Judge, just one more second, hang on, I'm thinking, he's always doing this sort of thing. And when Larry is about to blurt out what he thinks of Cindy, and you don't want him to say that he doesn't like her anymore because she broke up with him, and you can choose one of the options for Phoenix to try to motion to him that he should not talk. And it puts in parentheses Phoenix's thoughts, his internal thoughts. And as we get further on in the games, this will show up more, but I guess I should talk about it now. Anything in blue text and in parentheses is intended to be read as Phoenix's internal monologue, right?
Oh.
But the thing is that over time, sometimes people will react to it.
Oh.
And so
What?
sometimes people will react a little bit to it, as if he said it under his breath. And so there's a very common fan interpretation, and I think it is very solidly supported by the game itself, is that he is mumbling under his breath almost all of this.
That's so suspicious.
Yeah, he's
wow.
He's almost vocalizing his thoughts without realizing it in a way.
It's like the guy from SpongeBob who's like, "This sounds like a load of barnacles." It's that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you
But
say
you're
it
just
just
so
loud
clear.
enough that somebody can hear you, but not quite.
If my lawyer said that, I'd be like, I'm fucked. I'm like,
That's basically what everybody feels like as soon as they start the case, and Phoenix is their lawyer.
Oh god, I'm done.
Oh shit. Yeah. Anyway, the whole reason I brought this up was to say that as Phoenix motions at Larry, it has text in blue parentheses, but he says, "Lie like a dog." And for some reason, it's in all caps, and for some reason that gets me because they slow down the animation of him pointing. It's the objection animation, and they slow it down to try to give it emphasis as though he's somehow doing like hand signals, to Larry to be like, "Don't say a damn thing, lie like a dog." And I don't know, it still gets me, even though I've seen that line many times now. But I like that one quite a bit.
Interestingly enough, I didn't tell him to lie. I told him to tell the truth.
You told him to tell the truth?
Yeah, I also was like, well, we have to tell the truth.
We're in a court system. We can't fucking lie.
Oh yeah, that would be awful if somebody did that.
Perjury doesn't exist in the Ace Attorney world.
In this game.
No perjury.
Everyone lies through their fucking teeth.
We're exaggerating, but yeah, like there's no like mechanical representation of perjury, like people can get in trouble with the judge for lying, and after a case is over, sometimes you might hear like, oh, somebody who lied is gonna go to prison for a bit because of this, or whatever. Like you might get an offhand dialogue about it, but it's not. It's never like somebody lies and they're like, all right, well, you're in contempt of the court, we're throwing you out, kind of thing. Like
That's still what I was worried about. Oh my god.
No, it's a very dramatic game, and lying makes things dramatic. So.
Oh, I hate lying. I'm bad at it.
You think people just lie in court?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh,
Phoenix,
especially in Ace Attorney games.
Especially Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright will definitely adapt a ethos of the truth will set you free.
Okay,
he definitely becomes
for the defendants
that type of,
only.
Yeah, and is definitely like, we must always seek out the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. That is definitely messaging that is very deliberately stated in this game. But for now, it's all about comedy at the start. Here, we're just setting the table.
This is still just this is how you play the game. This is how you present evidence. This is how you contradict people by looking at the evidence more closely and finding out that there's specific times that you need to remember and things like that.
Well, I'm happy to know that both Tiago and I instantly were concerned about perjury. We share
I'm really glad. I'm genuinely glad.
Honestly, I'm fucked
You'll have
up.
to, that's why it's so interesting to play through it again after all this time, because you can be like, oh, I think I remember saying I should tell the truth last time. I'm gonna say lie this time and see what happens.
My RPG experience as a Fallout player is like, oh, be good, otherwise people will be mean at me.
Yeah, I feel secure in my truth decision.
Hell yeah. I think
that just means you're a good person, Tiago.
Oh god.
And Rose.
So I want to then loop back then around to my original question. Dessy, do you have like a favorite moment or line in this first case? Is there anything that jumps out to you?
Any point in this game when the music cuts to the cornered music is my favorite part.
Oh, I do love
because it always gives me goosebumps, because that track is so good. I still love it to this day. Like, it's still like when you present that piece of evidence that really shoves that guy, you've just proven him wrong 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now he is starting to sweat through his boots.
It's like
it's just so good. It has such a good build up, and it's just, you feel so smart. I remember when I was a kid, I was just like, oh my god, I'm so smart. I can't believe I'm so smart. I'm solving the puzzle.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be smart.
Becky, you cut out my Danganronpa comp. I didn't like it.
Well, now
that's okay. I didn't like it either.
Now we have to keep it.
Tiago, though, do you have a favorite moment in this one, or a favorite line that stuck out to you?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a moment where I was like stuck in this case, even though it's the fucking tutorial. So the guy, his defense is like, yeah, the clock is 3 hours late, and but you can't prove that it was 3 hours late on the day of the murder. And right. I went, fuck yeah, I actually can't prove that. What the fuck? So I was ready to give up.
Guess what? So did Phoenix.
I was ready.
I was about ready to give up, and then Mia's like, "No, don't give up. Prove it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna present the same piece of evidence again. And I hope that Phoenix gets it." That's how I got through that. Is simply Phoenix going, "Oh yeah, it's 1 p.m. in France, 9-hour time difference," and I was like, "Wait, oh okay, yeah, sure, I'll believe that."
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Just
Sometimes there are points in the game where you're so stuck that you just guess and it just happens to work out, but we haven't really gotten there yet in terms of difficulty. But
I did.
but what happens is when you do figure out that piece of evidence, everything else starts to fall into place, and then more stuff makes sense, and you're able to figure stuff out. It seems like you're able to figure stuff out a little bit more.
And the most important thing of all, and you might have noticed this, is that when you present the correct evidence, the music stops.
Yes.
Oh, I did not notice that.
So, save your game right before you're about to present a piece of evidence, and if you present the incorrect piece of evidence and the music keeps playing, you reset your system.
Oh, thank you for the tip. I appreciate it.
I'm trying my very best not to save scum this court game.
It's
Everybody
fine.
save scums this game. Everybody. There's not a soul out there that has not, I guarantee
I'm
it.
gonna be the first. I'm gonna be the one to blame on this.
Oh man.
So,
Does this,
yeah,
I
you
don't
could
remember
absolutely do
if,
that.
does this case have the penalty for presenting incorrect evidence? Is it just at this point?
It had like a bar at the top right.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's
because
still-
you get 5 tries
Yeah.
before you quote unquote fail the case, and it pushes you back.
Yes. Yeah. Then that's a straight up hard game over, and then it will put you back at your last save point.
Yeah, it loops you back to a different save.
But the games get more generous with this over time. So if you can make it through the first game, you'll be all right. Yeah, I guess Rose. Then, did you have any moments that stuck out to you for this first case?
I'm gonna have to say the thing that made probably the biggest impression on me was when you win and a bunch of silly confetti falls out of the courtroom ceiling.
Oh, I'm so glad you've never seen this before until now.
No, I legitimately didn't know there would be silly
I'm so
confetti.
glad. I'm so glad.
And there were so many sound effects, just like constant sound effects, just non-stop. Which I found hilarious throughout the entire thing. I was just like, wow, there's whip cracking noise. Now I see where the whip lady's gonna come in.
Yeah.
There was just like so many sounds, and like then the confetti fell out of the ceiling, and I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I hope this is in every Japanese courtroom.
We will have some stuff to share with you all eventually once we get a little further in, and I can share old Capcom 4 comas about Ace Attorney that they made at the time. There are some really, really good ones, but I can't share them yet due to spoilers. But once we get there, our Discord chat will be full of these things.
Oh, God bless.
Because there's some really good stuff that they've built up over the years there. So yeah, here's some fun facts about this first case. It was basically written in a month.
Oh.
When Shu Takumi finished up working on some other Capcom games, he let me pull it up here so I can get all the exact information here. But he wrapped up on some other games for Capcom, and then was able to jump to making his own game for the first time. He was like, well, I really want to make a mystery game. I want to make, in particular, he wanted to make a detective game at first. Like he said, I think I have an exact quote here. It had been my dream for 6 years, ever since I joined the company, and my chance came 1 year ago in August of 2000. I had waited for 6 years, so I couldn't come up with something lame. What makes mystery fiction fun, and what is the best way of portraying that in game? I poured a lot of thought into that. And he had in his mind this vision of a very jumpy witness who's trying to keep his lies going, and then a lawyer pointing at him and yelling objection, saying, "You're a big liar." And so he started working on this concept, and he went to a real courtroom with some of the other employees there and sat in for an indecent exposure case.
Wait, what the fuck?
That was the first case that they were able to like sit in on. Here's his exact quote. This is from a wonderful blog called the Gyakuten Saiban Library, which is a blog run by a person named Ash. They translate a lot of the Capcom blog posts by Shu Takumi and other staff at Capcom. It's been an invaluable resource right now, so I just wanted to plug them. Again, it is Gyakuten Saiban Library.blogspot.com.
Thanks,
They've been incredibly helpful. And so from their translation of Shu Takumi's blog about this indecent exposure case, we thought starting with a murder might be a bit heavy for us. So let's try something light first. So we entered into indecent exposure - verdict. It seemed like the least sinful crime. Not a great observation, Shu, but he said as far as what he noticed that he found really fascinating about this case, A, the judge doesn't use a gavel. I always thought a gavel when I thought of a judge, and of course, order. I thought that these elements were absolutely necessary, but in reality, the judge is empty-handed. They don't use gavels, and they don't even say order.
Wow.
That was
immersion ruined.
Yeah.
In addition, professionals don't like to use objection. You probably have some grudge against the town where the defendant lives, said one. This is the very biased comment of the prosecution. And that was then interrupted by the defense attorney, who stood up. Now that's it. Here comes the objection, I thought. I leaned forward, expecting to finally hear a genuine objection, but the defense attorney just wore a half smile and scratched their head. Oh, about what you just said, it's a bit, you know? And the prosecutor seemed to understand what they meant and laughed back with a blush. I guess so. I'll change my question. That's not how it's supposed to be.
It's oddly Moe.
Oh my god.
So I really love that he went there expecting all this bombast and instead got something very subdued. Granted, decent exposure.
Yeah,
but
that's terrible. We can all agree that is probably worse for it.
but all that.
That's a bold claim, my good sir.
I claim back.
But yeah, like, you know, he goes into some details about like the puns for the names, how he came up with all the, you know, these characters for the original prologue, but yeah, that was the original inspiration. So I think you can see a little bit of that here with clearly Cindy is her character is, it's a little dated now, but she's intended to be, I don't know, a call girl or somebody, you know, a woman who quote unquote gets around. And Larry is clearly not catching on to this fact, you know, and he just thinks that she was just somebody who was cheating on him. And he just doesn't catch on to it. But then,
she's like, what, an escort?
I suppose, yeah. But then, you know, at the end, you're supposed to present him. Did everybody present the right evidence at the end to show that she really did have some thoughts for Larry in the end?
No.
Okay. That's all right.
I was gonna say I did, but I have some insider information that somebody did.
I didn't read the room, and they're like, "Oh yeah, show the fact that she cares," and I was like, "I don't know, she go to Paris to get a wife for him or something." So I showed the passport. that was. I was doing so good on the entire court case, and in that exact moment, I was like, "Oh God, emotions." And I fucked up Larry. Sorry, Larry.
Oh, Larry.
You're more Phoenix than you'll ever know.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there is one other thing that I thought I'd bring up here about the development of the game here, is that while they were working on the concepting phase, it got shown to the producer and the other higher ups at Capcom, and this was like their proof of concept time, but it had pretty different gameplay from what we see now. The concept at the time, and this is again quoting from Gyakuten Saiban blog, the library was, the concept was so tense you aren't even allowed to lose attention once. We had a rigid time limit in real time.
Oh
no!
my God,
The game ran from the start of the trial all the way to the end with no stops. Once you missed your cue, you'd get an instant guilty verdict.
What?
Which is wild to me.
That's so difficult.
On the Game Boy Advance?
Yes, and in addition, all the witness testimonies were recorded in the court record, and to point out a contradiction, you needed to go through all the old testimonies.
Oh, that's just not fair.
So basically, every testimony would be logged, and you'd have to go back into it then and pick out which statement and which piece of evidence needed to be presented together.
I kind of wish there was a log, though.
There will eventually be a log for the later games, but yeah, unfortunately, they did not include it at this time.
I got deal
Instead,
with
you just keep going through the thing over and over again.
Yeah, keep looping around. This wasn't so tense that you weren't allowed to lose attention even once. It was so many things happening, you don't even know what to pay attention to, said Takumi. So worst of all, this review session happened at the end of the year, and literally just days before the year-end party for Production Studio 4 at Capcom. And Takumi had promised to do a magic show for everyone.
Oh!
That's your first mistake, buddy.
He apparently loves to do magic. This is great. So again, quoting from him, his blog post, "It happened at the end of the year party of Production Studio 4. I had promised to do a magic show in front of about 100 drunken men. I'll leave out why things had turned out that way, but I had said I would, and I have my own pride, so I definitely have to do so. What am I supposed to do?" As I was thinking about that sadly, I was making a silver orb float in the air. I cut through a beautiful woman and made the Capcom building disappear. This is partially exaggerated. And so the 20th century was about to end. That is his recording of his emotions at the time after doing this magic trick, this magic display.
I would actually.
And then he went and made Ace Attorney.
And well, then he came back and he had to reevaluate everything and figure out how to, slice things up. Basically, when you again, the team only had 7 people. So what happened is immediately after this, in January, 1 person had to leave the team. And so when you go from 7 to 6, that's a huge blow. Also, basically, Capcom put it on ice. Takumi even uses the word canceled here. And they basically said, "Nope, sorry, this isn't going to happen. We don't think we're going to be able to make your detective game." And eventually then, apparently just only a week or 2 later, then Takumi was able to get his producer to steal somebody from the original Resident Evil team to help them out.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, so somebody who was working on Resident Evil, they were like, "Hey, could you come over and help us on this detective game instead?" Got them to come over and got their team back up to 7 people again, and were able to restart development. This was then when they decided to reevaluate the structure of the game. This is when they made it episodic. So this is when they were like, okay, we're going to make this into episodes instead and divide it up into chunks. And then they also said...
Just like Columbo.
Exactly. And again,
just like Columbo.
Takumi is a huge fan of mysteries and Columbo and Sherlock Holmes. He says his favorite detective is Sherlock Holmes. His second favorite is Columbo, I believe, is what he said in the past.
I was
Fortunately, I've read all the Sherlock Holmes novels. So I've got that going for me.
Exactly.
Wait until you find out who your partner is in the more recent Sherlock Holmes. I just spoiled that.
Well, there it is. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
wait,
eventually.
no, I know about Sherlock Holmes. I know he exists.
Yeah, no,
one day we will get there.
That seems far, far away. But
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Depends
I
on
know
how
a lot
fast you
about.
play through the games.
I know a lot about Sherlock Holmes.
But yeah, and so then in addition
Peter
to
Falk
episodes,
is much more attractive than Sherlock Holmes. Sorry, that was a bad choice.
Wait, who?
I-
What? Who did you just say?
Peter Falk.
Oh! Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes, the fictional man in the public domain.
You think that matters in my fucking brain?
He could look like whatever you want.
He can look like Peter Falk.
Doesn't look like
He could
Peter
look-
Falk.
He could be
he
Peter
could
Falk.
be. He could be.
He
One day.
could
Okay,
be
what
Peter...
if Peter Falk was British and just did way
Ooh,
more cocaine?
that sounds awful.
Well, no, and also he's doing a lot of cocaine.
you know
Probably
what?
That's
did do a lot of
basically
cocaine.
Sherlock Holmes.
That,
Yeah.
You know what? That guy actually kind of cinches it for me. I've seen a lot of Columbo, and I do like that man Falk. I do not. Benedict Cumberbatch has redeemed himself as Doctor Strange in my eyes, but
I don't want to talk about Mr. Crab Snack, Bread Machine Crab Snacks. I have nothing to say.
yeah, fair enough.
Don't worry, we will get to talk more about Columbo soon. Very, very soon. Don't worry,
Oh, hell
because
yeah.
there is
Now,
literally a character who is based off of Columbo who will show up soon.
Yes, yes.
before I get canceled in the first podcast episode, I do want to say, wasn't Benedict Cumberbatch's fault that the Sherlock Stephen Moffat series was bad.
Yeah. No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't
Didn't
worry.
even cross my mind.
I want to. He did as good as he could do with what he was given,
I thought the first episode.
and now I'll show myself out.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I was gonna kind of follow that up with more Columbo, but no, Sherlock talk. But then I
No,
realized we don't have to.
We don't have to. This is the Ace Attorney podcast. I don't have to think about my disappointment.
All right, sweet, sounds good.
Eventually, we will get a much better Sherlock that we can talk about. Or Herlock, excuse me.
So
but-
We're in
yes,
America. We can say Sherlock.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to sue us? So after dividing it up into episodes,
for profit.
they then divided it up into segments within that for testimony, cross-examination, as we now see it. So basically the idea was testimony, it's time for you to listen. And cross-examination, time to point out the contradiction. And they would, before it was not locked in, like now you are locked into the cross-examination. You have to present one piece of evidence to make things progress in the story. You know what I mean?
Well, don't forget that you can also press the examination statements, or what am I trying to say? You can press the statements from the person on the poll first to see if you can get more information, and that's kind of what helps you decide what you want to, if you want to present evidence or not.
Right. Eventually,
Which will be far more helpful in later cases.
yeah, you can like in this first case, when you press a statement, they will just give you a little bit more context to the statement, and hopefully, like if you press a statement, sometimes Mia will even jump in and be like, "This statement's really suspect, Phoenix. This one's pretty suspicious. You should maybe, present evidence to this one." The game eventually does sometimes utilize pressing the gameplay action of pressing a statement in a different way. Like sometimes if you press a statement, they will expand upon their statement and add more details that then is the part where they will get tripped up. And then, so sometimes you will need to press a statement, they will add a new statement, and then you can present evidence to it. This is something that is not said always super explicitly in the gameplay. That's kind of why I'm bringing it up here now, just in case we do ended up encountering that. I don't remember if that comes up in the first game or not.
I don't believe so.
But eventually that is something that they do add on to try to give a little bit more depth to it. But for now, it is just find the right statement, present as evidence that contradicts it, and yeah, then they wrap up with the confetti. You get your final meeting, like we talked about with Larry Butts, and you get one last chance to present a piece of evidence that doesn't. It does again. Phoenix Wright is not a style of game where there's branching paths. There's sometimes, if you present the evidence to Larry, you get a few more pieces of dialogue.
Yeah,
If
I've
you-
heard
Yeah,
that.
it just gives you like a cute little characterization or something similar.
It would
but
suck if Larry
it's not
died
like you
as a
miss
result
out.
of this.
Yeah, you never have huge branching paths, due to messing up one of those last character moments. But if you need to present evidence, the game will lock you into it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I think overall uh, it's a it's a tutorial case, but it sets us up with primary characters who will be important through the rest of the game, like Phoenix, like Mia, like Larry. Um, Winston, Winston Payne is going to show up in the first case of every game to be our tutorial beat 'em up prosecutor. So if you
The
want
rookie killer, as they call him.
yeah, so you'll get you'll get to see him in the first case of every game from here on out. But and obviously the judge is the judge, so he'll stick around. But next case we're gonna get to meet a few more of the mainstays, and I'm excited to see what you guys think of it.
I want.
Yeah, I'm. Oh, go right ahead.
I was gonna say Winston Payne reminds me of Ted from Scrubs.
Okay.
Y'all big scrub head.
I'm not a
No.
scrub head. I only have tangential awareness of it.
Okay, cool. Rose, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I found myself a little bit like I finished the first case and I found myself a little disappointed that I was like, oh, I want to keep going, but I better wait for everyone else. So I'm excited to get it. I was sort of like, okay, I kind of get this game mechanic, so let's find out where we're going next. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I did want more.
Well, case 2 will give us quite a bit more to chew on because it's going to be more than twice the length of the tutorial case, roughly. So it'll have 2 segments, essentially, an investigation phase where you're out in the world, moving around between locations to investigate the crime, and then it will have a courtroom phase the following day in which you are back in the court doing what you did in the tutorial, but now with a decent amount more evidence to deal with and more testimony and witnesses.
I feel like I have a question, but I'm not sure how to phrase it without it just being straight up like, "Hey, give me help for a case that hasn't happened yet." Because I've played like some visual novels that require investigation and deduction.
Mhm.
It's possibly going to be released on the Switch December 3rd.
Sure.
Is there?
Don't date us.
This is a highly specific reference.
You'll see Digging Around for Decadence comes out on the Switch on December 3rd. So my question is it going to give me? Is every piece of evidence going to matter, or is it just going to be like, here's a red herring?
No, the game, if it's giving you evidence, it's giving you evidence for a reason.
Okay, understood. I was like, I hope to God that it does not give me a piece of evidence that does not matter, because otherwise, I'm going to think about that for literally the rest of the entire case.
I feel like it's safe for me to say this, but in Great Ace Attorney, there is a case where I got a piece of evidence that I did not need to use for nearly the entire case. And I kept looking at it in my inventory and I said, I know you're here for a reason. You're gonna be important eventually. I'm just waiting for the moment that I need to present you for something. And it did. Near very, very close to the end of the case, all of a sudden it became important then.
Extremely.
And it was only for one instance. It just needed to be presented once, but it did need to be there. So
yeah.
The game is pretty there's not a lot of room for deviating from the critical path, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are still times when you're like, hey, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, but you can't go down the wrong path, you know what I mean?
You either solve the logic puzzle or you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's
All right.
there's no false answers to the logic. Okay. Well, I guess there could be, but like, there's not gonna be a shoe in the inventory and then you never do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a point and click adventure novel, like video game. Every item you pick up, you're gonna need to use on some weird esoteric nonsense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never played a point and click adventure. Oh, have I? That's not true. I think I literally is Ghost Trick a point and click adventure?
I mean, here's the thing. Next case, you are going to start pointing and clicking.
I love to point.
Oh God, no! I'm scared.
There will be a mechanic where you will need to investigate a crime scene. and it will literally be a little pointer that you move around in the map.
look at
It'll
stuff.
be a map, it'll be like a matte painting, just like a point and click game. Everything's stationary, and you click on various items, and the characters will give you their thoughts on it. And if it is vital enough to be added to your inventory, they will then add it to your inventory, and then you can show it around to witnesses and stuff like that. So, if you find something at the crime scene that seems important, you can then, and it puts it in your inventory, you can take it to one of the witnesses who are out in the world, not walking, I shouldn't say that, but who are at a location. You can move up to them and then say, hey, what do you think about this? And they might go, I have no thoughts about that. Generic response here. Or it might start a whole branch of the conversation and give you something new to build off for your case.
Okay. Word.
So,
Yay,
yeah.
point click.
We'll get into that in the next case.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to go too far into it, but we're going to really get into the meat of things with case 2. Yeah, I didn't
Case
know
2
if-
is the real deal.
Yes. I don't know if anybody else had anything else they wanted to drop here. Otherwise, it feels like we've
This game's
kind of
music is
covered most
dope.
of things.
Dude,
Yeah.
yes, I love it. So this is like, when is
Yes,
the first...
I love music.
God, I
Don't
love
say.
music. When was the first Ace Attorney supposed to come out in Japan on the Game Boy Advance? 2004?
The original Ace
2001.
Attorney came out 2001.
2001.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember 2001. I remember when I was in like middle school and shit like that. I don't know if that would not have been the point is I played Game Boy Advance games made by Capcom.
It came out here in America in 2005
Yes.
Yeah, on the DS.
On the DS.
on the DS.
So around the time where like Ace Attorney was made, I want to say Mega Man Battle Network was made, and it has like I can hear the Game Boy Advance sound chip used in the Ace Attorney soundtrack, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, Capcom,
the
thank
Game Boy
you.
Advance sound chip has been medically implanted in my brain. It's my favorite.
I always think when I like am just thinking randomly, I'm thinking about the Mega Man Battle Network 4 theme or 5. So like when I heard it, I was like,
all of the sound
this is
effects
good.
in this game they use in like the next 5 games. So you get very used to the sound effects, like the text and the when you find a piece of evidence or something that's important, it goes doo doo doo, and then it gets updated in your report and stuff like that. It's a nice little just kind of thing that ties all the games together. That's not necessarily like in just a here we are again kind of way.
Yeah, it's very homey, at least now anyway. I find it very
when
homey.
you turn on
Very
an Ace Attorney
warm.
game and you hear that like when it's like the case is starting and it's typing
typewriter.
out on the typewriter, you're like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, it just made me feel very comforted to hear the soundtrack, because I was like imagining myself playing Mega Man Battle Network, and I was like, oh, I feel good. Thank you, Capcom.
The nostalgia.
I have no nostalgia because I had very little access to video games basically till I went off to college. So
it's fun to have somebody experience this for the first time.
Yeah, I'm truly the babyist.
Now I really want to get. I was talking to Rose earlier today about like how I just wanted to get a Game Boy Advance and be like, God,
you want to mod it?
I kind of.
I know a guy.
Wait, really? You know
Backlit
a guy?
screen, yada yada.
Wait, Rose.
I happen to know somebody who has a Game Boy Advance and said you could borrow it.
Oh yes, that is true.
Just
I want a Game Boy Advance to keep for myself to mod.
Alright, well, I can't help you with modding a Game Boy.
Yeah, I can't borrow their Game Boy Advance and then come back with like a whole new machine and be like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that would be a no-go.
Appreciate it.
I've upgraded your Game Boy. I hope you enjoy.
Just get an SP.
Ooh, no, I don't want an SP. I want the Game Boy Advance because it has batteries, and batteries won't like die out. Because like a Game Boy Advance SP, eventually
I still have my Game Boy Advance and the battery's mostly fine.
See, I can't deal with the idea of mostly. I want 100.
I need to like adjust the screw in the back because like if I touch the back in a certain way, it like makes the battery shift a little bit. So I just think I need to tighten the screw. But other than that, it holds a charge perfectly fine.
No, I can't purchase
My
more things.
SP that I've had since I was a child.
Well, one day when we get hardcore into modifying our game consoles, we can start a podcast about that then.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm
No,
gonna
you're gonna have to
modding.
tag me out, Chief.
Just go to Tiago's house.
Go to my house. Just watch me mod that Game Boy Advance SP, and then I cut myself with my thumb like I did when I modded my PSP.
Yeah.
And when we built your computer.
And when I did cut my thumb when we built a computer.
Oh my god.
You know what? Maybe I shouldn't mod these. Maybe I should just. No, I'm not buying anything. Okay, so I feel like I did have a thought I wanted to say at the end of this, and I totally forgot what it was.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I should have wrote it down.
Okay.
It's on me.
But yeah. I think this is a good first case. All hail Masakazu Sugimori, who did the music for this first game.
My guy.
Sugimori did the music for games 1 and 2, and then eventually Noriyuki Iwadare takes over for game 3. There's like 2 or 3 musicians who have all contributed to Ace Attorney music, throughout the course of its life. So don't worry, we will have an absolute buffet of music.
I'm
Cornered is
right
the best Ace Attorney song, and I will go down with that.
I should look up. Yeah. No, I can't get a soundtrack for this fucking game yet.
We got to get through game 1, then you can put the soundtrack in your library.
That's no good.
That's spoiler territory. I've been spoiled on the detective game before just by the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, it'll be like the Star Wars Episode 1 soundtrack all over again.
For me it was God, you know what? No, I actually don't want to talk about it's Danganronpa again. I got spoiled with Danganronpa.
Alright.
We gotta move away from it. I'm becoming that guy and I don't want to be that guy.
It's alright.
Getting some real boss baby vibes from this movie.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's with Danganronpa.
Getting some real Danganronpa vibes.
Oh,
no,
man.
God, I can't in good conscience do that to good old Ace Attorney. It should be the reverse.
Yeah, especially since it came first.
Yes. Okay, I have nothing else to say.
No worries. All right, well then, I think we'll call it then for this week's folks. You can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod to stay up to date on our latest episodes, as well as the streams and YouTube uploads of Dessy and I playing through the game. If you are not going to play along with us, that's totally fine. You can watch the streams and see the entire game that way. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Yotsuben. Dessy, where can people find you online?
I'm just on Twitter at yes, this is Des. It's a lot of Apex right now.
Yeah, that's all good. And Tiago, where can people find you?
Oh, I am at Tiago S. Dutra. That's the account.
Okay. And Rose, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TromArts, TROM Arts. I post, shockingly enough, arts.
Yeah.
Just every now and then. Maybe a dog photo here and there.
Oh God,
yeah.
I didn't spell my name, and I'm afraid I should spell my name. Tiago, you know what? There'll be like a Twitter post. My name will be there probably.
Your name is spelled how it sounds.
Yeah.
It's all good. It'll be in the link in the descriptions below. If you're in your podcast catcher that you're listening to this on right now. So thank you so much for listening. We hope that you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast platform of choice is. Next episode, we will be tackling case 1-2, the second case of the game, which has some big changes for Phoenix right out of the gate. And we hope you'll tune in. And don't forget, capitalism deserves your biggest objection.